Sparkasse turns off Schröder's Russian money tap, and in business, it's never a good sign when one of your key accounts gets abruptly terminated. But that's exactly what happened to Gerhard Schröder. The former German Chancellor and current Russian energy tycoon has been dumped by his bank. And it's all because of this conflict in Ukraine. Schröder has been sanctioned by the EU and the UK, so earlier this year, he sold his super yacht, his private jets, and his expensive art collection to avoid seizure. He also closed down his companies in Switzerland and the Netherlands. But one thing he couldn't let go of was his Russian money. He has an account with a German savings bank called Sparkasse. Now, this is a state-owned institution with close ties to the Kremlin. It's basically the only bank in Russia that can handle international transactions. And Schröder has been using it to funnel money into Russia since the invasion of Ukraine. According to NTV, he transferred around 70 million euros in March, April, and May. Now, we don't know where the money came from or where it went, but we do know that Schröder isn't happy about the closure of his account. He told the news outlet that he's, quote, not used to being treated like this. He also threatened to take legal action against the bank. But here's the thing, Schröder doesn't need this account anymore. In June, he gave up his Russian citizenship. He's no longer a tax resident in Russia, which means he doesn't need to bring money into the country. Plus, all his companies are still based in Russia. So he can still get his hands on that cash if he really needs it. But why does he need cash when he doesn't even live in Russia anymore? Well, according to the report, Schröder still owns property in Moscow and he wants to sell it. But potential buyers need to pay in cash, which is why Schröder transferred the money from his Russian bank account to his personal account in Austria. But now that account is frozen, Schröder won't be able to sell any of his properties anytime soon. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, let's not forget who Schröder is. He's the same guy who oversaw the construction of the controversial Nord Stream 2 pipeline. He's the same guy who described Putin as a, quote, good European politician, and he's the same guy who said that Russia's annexation of Crimea was, quote, the last thing we Germans will ever buy. So maybe it's a good thing that Schröder is finally being held accountable for his actions. His luxurious lifestyle may have made him look like a loyal servant of the Russian state, but it also made him vulnerable to the West. If he really wanted to hide his money, he wouldn't have parked it in a German bank with close ties to the Kremlin. In other words, Schröder got played, and if there's anyone to blame for that, it's himself.